Welcome to Tennis Volley Talk with Danielson. Hey, today I'm going to be doing another over-the-phone interview, and it's with a former top 10 player back in the 70s and beyond. And I kind of have the retro hat that I'm wearing today from the 70s, so it kind of makes it kind of nice. This player actually won 25 singles, made it up to number 3 in singles in 77 and number 2 in doubles in 1976. But very good, accomplished player all the way around with that. And today on my podcast, I welcome Brian Gottfried. Thank you so much for being on my tennis podcast, Brian.
Thank you, Brian. It's a pleasure to be here. Pleasure to talk tennis with anybody. I love the game. It's been a lifelong passion. I was bit by the tennis bug when I was 8 years old, and I'm 73 now, so 65 years of
That's a
wonderful game.
Yeah, and I heard that it was just that you probably at that time from that story of that you were hosting some players from Japan, yes, watching the Orange Bowl, and they, yes, gifted you a tennis racket, and that's kind of where you got the passion. That looks like a pretty good sport. I guess I should try it and see what happens.
So when I was 8, I was playing. I was like any kid growing up in those days, playing lots of sports. I played a lot of baseball, when I was that young, although when you're that young, you don't really play baseball. You're just out on the field and enjoying it. But I was a professional baseball player, so we had some good athletic genes in our family. And he was also in Miami when we were living there. And a fellow by the name of Eddie Herr, maybe lots of your listeners will recognize that name as a tournament being held at IMG, a junior tournament. Well, he was a real live person, Eddie Herr was. And he used to bring international players in during the Orange Bowl week to run another tournament called the Sunshine Cup, which was a nation against nation, a junior Davis Cup match.
Oh, that must have been cool.
He came to my dad to ask for housing for some of the players. My dad said he'd like to do it. And my mom had an affinity for things Japanese, so we kept Japanese players in the house. They left me a racket. I used to go watch them play while they were here for the Orange Bowl. And that's how I started. I was bit by the tennis bug at that time.
Oh, my gosh.
And I've been on the court ever since. In fact, this morning, we're talking now at 11 o'clock. I was already on the court. I'm in Florida, so I was already on the court this morning at 7. But what's really cool and what you'll find when you get involved in this tennis family, and I call it a family because we're all connected in some way. And like I mentioned, keeping the Japanese players, they started me playing. What was really cool was when I was about 21, so 13 years after starting to play, I went back to Tokyo to play a professional event. I was on the pro tour at the time. I went back to Tokyo to play a pro event, and I saw 2 of the players that had actually helped me start playing.
Oh my gosh, that must have been a full circle in itself.
Yeah. So to see that has been, was really cool at that time.
Oh, sure.
The Japanese have had a special niche in my life.
Oh yeah.
Because of that.
Oh, I'm sure it does, and that's such a special way to reconnect and have that full circle moment with that. Myself, I had kind of a full circle moment too because of the fact that back in the day when I grew up in Tulsa, Oklahoma, in the Missouri Valley, which was just, in the southern parts of the state too, Texas and Oklahoma and Missouri and all that. And I attended a world team tennis match back in the day in 76, 78, in that era. But the whole thing is that I got a picture. I have a picture and took of Chris Everett. She was there at that match. And lo and behold, I'm on the court and I take a picture of Bobby Riggs. And I have a picture of that, him looking right at my camera. And that was just shortly after he had played, not too long after he had played Billie Jean.
Right.
And
73.
Yeah, 73. And it was like, wow, this is kind of cool. And then later on, talking to a friend of mine that I grew up in high school, shout out to Jerry out there. Anyway, I was talking to him and he goes, well, yeah, I remember I got a program from that night and I've had it ever since. And I said, well, gosh, just send it to me. I'll put it into my collection. And lo and behold, he sends it to me and boom, I'm going through it. He has some autographs on it. And lo and behold, one of the autographs, Bobby Riggs.
Wow.
So
how did you get Bobby Riggs in a picture on the court? He certainly didn't play that.
No, he was there kind of promoting everything. Yeah, he was there promoting everything. He had his sugar daddy coat on and just kind of standing on the sidelines and wow, okay, click, there it is.
All right.
So it just kind of more of the tennis realm of what I've had the opportunity to be able to take, with pictures that I've had. Back in Tulsa, they had a Bank of Oklahoma tournament that came through for 10 years, and Connors played it. I actually had also the opportunity. I saw Stan Smith, Bob Lutz, the Gullickson twins, both of them back in the day, and just amazing in itself to be able to see those pros and up close and very, casual and kind of seeing their personality that way too.
So we played I played Tulsa 1 year. I went to Trinity University in San Antonio, Texas.
Okay.
And at the end of the school year, I remember driving up to Tulsa playing an event up there. I can't remember where it was, though. It was a few years ago. But I have an old friend who I played with, Pancho Walthall, who's been a longtime director at Southern Hills. Is that a club?
Yep. That is a club.
So he was there for a number of years. So again, you talk about connections and places you've been and people you've had some kind of crossing paths with.
Oh, sure.
So yeah,
and that just makes it so much more integral behind this game of tennis to actually get that bug to play. Even though I kind of started late in life with tennis, kind of like early junior high is when I kind of started, and 67, 68 in that era, and then I kind of grew from there. And but it was just kind of the bug hit me, and like you, it hit you way early. But did you like start, and when you got a little older, did you start like taking tennis lessons, and then all of a sudden you kind of discovered, oh my, I have this, I can see that ball coming and I can hit it and I have good timing on things? Because a lot of people, like they have that innate ability to track the ball, for whatever reason. It's that step above than a lot of other people. And it's like amazing to me.
I don't know how or when looking at a path developed for me, but again, so if you go back, I started playing in 1960 when I was 8, and remember, open tennis didn't start till 1968.
No, that's true.
So there really wasn't a career path. So what happened for me was I loved the game. Mm-hmm. And in those days, there weren't lots of tennis clubs in cities. There was just a public park that you played at.
That's true.
So each city had a big public park, and which, again, going back, as a parent, you could drop your child off at the park in the morning, and there would be plenty to do. There would be activities on basketball courts, on baseball fields, on tennis courts. So you never really had to worry about your child having something to do, running, getting tired, coming back at the end of the evening. So that's basically how I grew up. My parents would drop me at the the club at North Miami Beach, which was a park, and they picked me up when it got dark.
Oh, yeah.
And I'd be there and lots of other junior players.
Oh, sure.
Were there, so we'd play when we could get on the courts.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
There were only 6 courts, so we weren't always allowed on. The adults had priority.
Well, yeah, you got it. And then you still got to go hit with the adults, and they'll hit with you a little bit too. So,
yeah. But we used to do other things. We would play sidewalk tennis. Or
sure.
Play football with a tennis ball. We'd be doing something athletic at all times.
Oh, at all. That's so cool.
That's how the day went. And so I think that was a big part of, and I think with my baseball, a little bit of background, hand-eye coordination was pretty good. But more than that, I think doing those different things, the athletic ability, the athleticism, let's say I had an opportunity to become an athlete before I became a tennis player.
Okay.
That was an important part of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, and I think that's not an unusual story with lots of guys that grew up in my era.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's true.
Guys like Stan Smith who played basketball, Marty Reeson who played college basketball and college tennis at the same time. So he was really accomplished. So I think you find that with a lot of guys that grew up in my era. They were playing multiple sports, but they were athletes first and then tennis players second, which helps. Because I think you find that with a lot of non-American, either South Americans or Europeans. They generally gravitate to soccer first, and then they might find a love for tennis. So again, they're developing their athletic ability.
Yeah.
And then, which helps with your movement, helps with your court sense, with your ball sense.
Oh, sure.
So those types of things I think were really important. We didn't know it at the time. And like I said, we started before open tennis, before there was a career path in the game. There were pros. Most of tennis, what your audience probably is used to seeing, the majors on TV, those were all amateur events before 1968. So,
that's true.
You didn't play for any prize money. You played the first time Rod Laver won Wimbledon. I think he won a gift certificate to Lily White's for $25.
Oh, gee whiz. Go figure that one, right?
So that's how tennis was.
Oh, sure.
Until 68, until the game went open.
Oh, sure.
And open means that you play for prize money. There's a total prize money purse in each tournament, and you win money according to how many rounds you win. And that's what allowed the game to have a career path for players to see. But we never had that vision. So our why did we play? We played because we just loved the game.
Oh gosh, yeah.
That was important. In fact, Nick Bollettieri was one of my first coaches, but before his academy days, before anybody else knew of him, he was a local pro in Miami, and I've spoken to him, and he's no longer alive, but last couple of years he was alive. I said, so Nick, tell me when you were looking at me play, and he then asked me if I would consider coming and live with him during the summer at his summer jobs, so he could teach me. I said, what did you see in a young player? What did you see in me when I was young? And he couldn't answer that. He said, I don't know. I
just felt it.
Just look good.
Yeah, just look good.
I was 8. I don't know how you look, but I see I can see young people even at that age. I can see athletic ability, and I can see how they move, and I can see, how they listen to instruction, things like that. So I think there are things that coaches can have a sense about.
Sure.
And I don't think different than nowadays when you've got thousands and millions of junior players around the world. The bulk of tennis were American players and Australian players. So
yes.
it wasn't as big of a pool as you would see nowadays. So
And,
so that's
and
how what his thoughts were, and how looking at a junior player, what was important.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And with that and growing up, and you kind of had more a good way of I mean, like kind of growing up at a young age, but yet kind of being like at one of the schools, Piper High School, that was actually kind of a boarding school too. But that's pretty young age to go up, and be playing tennis at a boarding school and everything, and just kind of like being on your own, really, actually.
Yeah. And then after, but that didn't happen. I went to Baylor School in high school. Did you mention Piper? Did I hear you say Piper?
Yeah, Piper, and then both Baylor too.
Yeah, well, my brother went to Piper, so that was a school in Fort Lauderdale. But we were living. This was a few years. My brother's 7 years younger than me. In fact, actually today he's 6 years younger. It's his birthday today.
Well, happy birthday to your brother then.
I'll tell him you passed that along. But so he went to Piper because my folks were living in Fort Lauderdale at the time. When I was in high school, we had been living on the west coast of Florida in a school that was unaccredited. So I wasn't going to get into a college by graduating from that high school. So I had to go away. And the only other school that I knew of was the Baylor School. And the reason I knew of it was because 5 years earlier in the National 12 and Unders in Chattanooga, Tennessee, they used to ship matches out to the Baylor School.
Oh, okay.
So I knew they had tennis courts there. I knew they had a program, but it really wasn't for tennis that I went there. But we did know of that school, like I say, through the National 12s. But after research, finding that Chrissy Everett's uncle was the tennis coach there, and eventually we had, and then if you look back at their history, Roscoe Tanner went to school there.
Oh my gosh!
We went at the same time. A guy named Zan Gary, who was also a top 25 player in the U.S. In the world back before us, and quite a few other players that went on to play Division I tennis.
Oh gosh!
All went there. So they really did have quite an athletic program and also tennis.
Oh yeah.
So that's how I ended up there. But that gave me an opportunity to grow up. I was living on my own in a dorm, which was lonely at times, but it gave me an opportunity to grow up.
Oh, sure.
And to develop kind of a self-motivating characteristic, which I think is important in tennis.
Oh, sure. Yeah. And kind of being on your own and kind of like you know what you're doing in a way.
Well, which helps you later on in life when you go to college, certainly. And then even after that, traveling on the pro tour, one of the hardest things, it's not playing the matches, it's what you do after the matches. And in our day, there wasn't the training, the preparation, and the recovery after matches wasn't as sophisticated as it is now.
Oh, I'm sure.
So, so we would practice an hour a day, let's say, and if it wasn't a major, we'd play a 2 out of 3 set match. So probably 3 hours a day was spent on the court or practicing. Maybe you watch your next opponent for an hour. So that's 4 hours a day. You got to find something to do with the next 20 hours. So loneliness can sometimes get to a lot of players.
Oh, I'm sure.
So I think having this experience of living on my own and figuring out, okay, what am I going to do to keep myself busy? I think that was very helpful years before. So
I'm sure it was.
Life takes you around in a circle, and the circle, God has you in certain areas of life and puts some obstacles in front of you that he wants you to climb over, and hopefully you climb over and you grow.
Oh, that is true. I mean, puts those little kind of things in your path too. Okay, you look back at it, it could be a little God nudge or something like that too. Okay, that's why I did that. That's why I was where I was at the time, and to meet somebody.
Yes, you look back and it helps you grow, and you keep moving on. You hope to keep moving on.
Oh, absolutely. And with that too, to then, back and then making it up to number 3 in singles. But of course, then you had some tough competition back then in 77. You had Connors, you had Vilas, you had Borg, you had those guys that you were contending with, which were some pretty tough competition back then.
Yeah. Well, and then, so we can even take it a step further. I had that competition from the time I was 11 years old. I played Jimmy for the first time when I was 11 and he was 10.
Oh, my God.
I go back, to when I was 9 years old, Harold Solomon.
Harold Solomon, the backboard.
Roscoe Tanner I went to high school with. So we go back long before our pro days.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were old friends. And I say even to this day, some of my fiercest rivals are my closest friends.
Well, of course. I mean that
because we have that long history together.
Yeah, long history. And did Roscoe Tanner actually have as fast as a serve back in the day when he was growing up?
He didn't.
He didn't?
No.
Oh my gosh.
But he had a pretty good serve.
Yeah.
But he, in high school, his brother-in-law, his sister married a guy named Ramsey Earnhardt, who was a top 10 U.S. player.
Okay.
Before our time, he went to Southern California, and I think was part of one of their national championship teams. But I think he worked very closely with Roscoe to develop his serve, as did Jerry Everett, Chrissy's uncle.
Oh, sure.
While we were at Baylor,
Mm-hmm.
we went to the same high school together in Chattanooga. So, but it wasn't 140 miles an hour back in the juniors. I can tell you that.
But boy, he sure did develop something back then, even with the smaller rackets, for having a serve like that. And,
yes.
And I actually did have the privilege of seeing him at the BOK tournament in Tulsa, and was able to see him play, and got a picture of him with his big smile and everything. It was kind of nice. Yeah. I had the opportunity to be able to take pictures back in the day with the old 35 millimeter. So I have quite a few tennis pictures with the 35 millimeter camera that I had with me at the time. And everything. But just that tournament alone was just really such a wonderful tournament to be in. And then I've had the opportunity, I saw in 76, I went to go see WCT, and I saw Borg and Vilas play. And that was a 4-set match with Borg winning. And that was just like amazing in itself, and was able to be right down close to court and got some beautiful pictures.
So where this was, did you go to Dallas to see that?
Yeah. Went to Dallas to the Moody Coliseum.
To the finals,
yeah. And full circle again later on in the exhibition in Tulsa, I got to see Vilas play Kevin Curran. And at the end of it, I had my 8x10 color picture of Vilas that I had taken of him in 76, and bam, was right out there with a few people talking, and I put it in front of him, and he looked at it and smiled at me and signed the picture. So that's really kind of a nice picture to have of remembering something like that in full circle that way too.
Yes, yeah, sure is.
And,
well, good. You got some memories, it sounds like.
Oh yeah, and just being able to have that memory in playing and everything too. And of course, then with you being on the ATP tour with singles, you also kind of won a lot within the WCT circuit also too, with some of your matches that you played too.
Yeah, well, it was all eventually WCT became part of, although they ran the first 5 months of the calendar, they became part of the Grand Prix tour, which is what it was called back then before the ATP.
Oh, sure.
Created the ATP tour. It was a big part of tennis from January to May. WCT ran that part of the tour, and they had their finals, as you mentioned, in Dallas in May. It was, you're bringing back a lot of old lot of old memories that I hadn't thought about in a while. So.
Yeah, well, that's kind of the way I grew up, as just being able to be at the right place at the right time and sneak down on the court, and you're close to the court, and be able to take the pictures that I did over the years too, with that, and then plus kind of the full circle with the exhibition I had, and I was able to watch Vincent and Patton play with Dean Paul Martin Jr.
Yeah.
And along with Eli Nastasi, and the two players were Eli Nastasi and Vilas,
Okay.
which was just amazing in itself to take those pictures. And then, earlier I had interviewed because Vince knew me, and because of that, and I mentioned that exhibition and was able to interview him on my podcast too. But also winning with you, winning 54 doubles all together, but one of your partners and everything, Raul Ramirez from Mexico, was absolutely, I watched you guys play on tape delay, mind you, back then, but I watched you guys play Davis Cup and hit, and I was just, oh my gosh, what a doubles team. Boy, how did they, it was just amazing to watch you guys.
Well, thanks. Yeah, we did play together for 8 years. I played with a few other guys. I played with Dick Stockton when I first came out of college. Paul Gherkin, also when I first came out of college. They were two of my college teammates. But then Raul and I got together sort of by coincidence. Dickie, I was playing with Dickie Stockton at the time, and this was about 73. 74, and he was going to play, and he wasn't playing Cincinnati where I was going to play. So the tour manager, which is a fellow that travels on the tour to help with the logistics, he's the liaison between the players and the tournament staff. He knew that Dickie wasn't playing, so he asked me whether I wanted to play with Raul. He said, Raul's partner isn't here. Do you guys want to play together? I said, yeah, let's do that. So we played together, and our first tournament was Cincinnati. We beat Connors and Nastasi, and we lost to John Alexander and Phil Dent in the finals.
Oh, my goodness.
So we said, oh, gosh, we played pretty well together.
Oh, sure.
If the opportunity ever happens, let's try to play again.
Oh.
So the following summer, Dickie was going to play. I was still playing with Dickie at the time. He was going to play team tennis the next summer.
Okay, that's right.
In 75. And I was going to play the U.S. summer circuit. So we were going to be split from each other for probably 3 months. So then Raul and I contacted each other, and we said, I'm available. What's your schedule? He said, I'm available. Let's do this. So we played together. We started together in Europe in Hamburg, the German championships in April, and we ended up losing in the finals. We got all the way to the finals. The second time. So we go, wow, that's 2 finals in a row.
That's pretty good.
So we said, yeah, let's do this through the summer. So our third tournament, we went to Rome, and we won the Italian thing. So we said, okay, that's a lock. We're together.
We're going to start playing. We know it.
So that was it. That was our first 3 tournaments, 2 finals and a win.
Sure.
And we were off and running. We played together after that. We played 8 years together.
That is really good.
We were number 1 in the world as a team in 75 and 76. We won Wimbledon in 76. We ended up winning the Italian championships, the tournament that I previously mentioned. We won that 4 times in a row.
Yeah.
So we were really not only did we play well together, but we were consistent.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Regularly, we were getting to the later stages of the tournament.
Oh, yeah. And they made it even better.
That was really important.
Oh, sure.
And it helped in that a lot of players today don't play doubles.
That's right.
Even at the junior level, a lot of players won't play doubles. But for me, it was important for a couple of reasons. One, it helps you learn the game. It helps you see the game from a different perspective.
It certainly does. Yes.
And you're hitting shots that you may not necessarily hit in singles because you're playing from different parts of the court.
Sure.
But also just as important is if you lose your singles match, and on the pro tour, if you lose, you're sitting around for a week. You have nothing to do until the next week.
Yeah.
You can practice. But if you're in the doubles, you're still playing tournament matches.
Yeah, still playing tournament
matches. You're gaining confidence.
Oh, that's true.
And you're learning how to win.
Oh, yeah.
And so there's a lot of good things mentally that can help you on the doubles court as well.
Oh, sure.
So it helped overall as a player. So that's one of the things I suggest to the players that I coach. If they can play doubles, it can help their game. So those were just a couple of reasons. Plus, not to mention that back in those early days of open tennis, when you lost in the first round of singles, you made about $300.
Oh gosh, yeah.
In doubles, you made about half of that if you lost in the first round of doubles. So you had to play both
to survive.
To get to the next tournament.
To survive that.
It was a financial reason to play.
That's true.
So plus, we love the game.
Well, of course. Of
course. It's a chance to continue playing.
Of course.
When at the majors where they have singles, doubles, and mixed, my generation of players, we stuck to singles and doubles. The generation before us, guys like Laver or Rosewall or Emerson or Stolley, Stan Smith, Arthur Ashe, they generally played singles, doubles, and mixed.
Oh, sure.
So they were playing 3 matches a day at the majors. So they thought we were kind of wimping out by only playing singles and doubles. But so be it.
Oh yeah, so bad. But at least you were busy enough to make it and have that. If you lost in the singles early, then you still had your doubles to fall back on, which was always good too.
Yeah.
And myself, I mean, with that, I mean, I there's a little local tournament here that I play during the summer. It's called in Elk River, a little community about 20 miles away from here, and they have a tennis tournament every summer. And they have, and it's actually grown exponentially. This summer, it'll be its 55th year being done.
Wow.
And it's just a wonderful tennis tournament. I've known the tournament director, Randy Ronning, for many years. And it is just some wonderful tennis being played, even with the girls and the boys. They kind of do it a shortened format with no ad. They do the 10-point super tie break in the third, but they do singles on Saturday or mixed doubles on Friday, singles, men's and women's singles on Saturday, and then doubles on Sunday. So it's a full weekend that if you want some tennis to get in, there's the place to be in Elk River during the summer tournament. But if you ever want to, if you ever come through Minneapolis, that's a tournament to go watch.
It would only be during June.
Only during June, July when it's hot.
I'm allergic to snow.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Being a Florida boy.
Oh yeah, and plus that, Minneapolis actually just came up with 2 green clay tennis courts that are actually, you don't have to be at a club to be there.
Wow.
There are 2 public green clay tennis courts in Minneapolis. And it just is really amazing and it's gaining popularity with the tennis players that discovered it. And it's like, oh my gosh, you got to get up early to get up to those courts now.
Oh, really? So they are busy.
Yeah, they are busy. It's really amazing. And it just such a wonderful 2 courts that you can play on, and it's public, so it's really unbelievable. So, yeah, another thing to look for if you ever come through the summertime and come through Minneapolis. Yeah, definitely show you the green clay tennis courts.
Okay.
Show me some strokes. Don't run me around too much. But anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I've got some good friends that live in Minneapolis, the Wheaton family.
Oh yeah, David Wheaton. Yes, I saw.
He's a close friend, and his brother John runs a tennis club there downtown. And I'm trying to think of the name. He's part of the inner city program, the inner city not-for-profit program. John is.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm trying to think where he. Anyways, it's a tennis facility downtown. So
I'm sure.
you need to look him up when you're there.
Oh, sure,
Heavily
absolutely.
involved. David runs. He's a radio talk show host now.
Mm-hmm.
He runs a called the Christian Worldview.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, and that's amazing in itself. With knowing to trying to get a hold of somebody like that too would be wonderful. But along the way too, with you YouTubers out there, you're going to hear, if you like what I'm doing and talking and being able to talk to the pro like Brian here. Just let me know, like, comment, subscribe. And you podcasters out there, you're going to hear also the Racquet of the Week. Also, you'll get to hear about it. You YouTubers, you'll see it here and stuff. But with that too, if you happen to have, float my name to some other people that you might think might want to have the interview with me too, with the tennis podcast. It would be wonderful to be able to have other people to go through their story and kind of the grassroots of how they grew up and what they were thinking and all that, which has made it so much fun for also. And be able to do this and able to talk to pros like you that have grown up in the early days of tennis and before the open era and all of that too. And with that too, another thing that you kind of must have been very, very happy and proud of is actually then being inducted into the Jewish Hall of Fame of athletes too. That must have been wonderful.
Say that again. I lost part. You cut out for just a second.
Oh, it just said you must have been very, very happy and pleased whenever you got inducted into the Jewish Hall of Fame of athletes too.
Yeah, of course. It's always nice for somebody to recognize what you do, and what's nice also is when people will come up and talk to you about how much joy you gave them on the court.
That's true.
Just realizing that you did something, and I say you, but we're given God-given gifts,
mm-hmm.
and for somebody to certainly pay money to watch you play.
That's right.
If you think about that, right now, I know young people are not in the generation of the juniors that are playing nowadays, and I know if a junior comes up to me, they were probably prompted by their grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
But that's okay. People like to be recognized for what they do, and like I say, if you've given somebody, if you've inspired somebody or given them something that because of what you did.
Oh, sure, absolutely.
It's important that we all do that.
Oh yeah, and with that too, I've had the opportunity of having the interviews on my podcast too. I had the opportunity to interview a historian for West Side Tennis Club in Forest Hills, New York, and it was just wonderful because then talking to her, she said, well, if you ever make it to New York, let me know. I'll show you the club. Well, son of a gun. Guess who ended up in New York in 2024?
Okay.
And so I was able to go to West Side.
Tour of the West Side Tennis Club?
I got the tour of the West Side Tennis Club and actually got to see Bud Collins' library that his widow gave to West Side Tennis Club. And got to see the grounds and got to have lunch and overlooking the grass courts where you got to wear tennis whites. And if you want to go really retro, they do sell white tennis balls too.
Okay. That's going back.
Yes, it is.
It started with white tennis balls back.
Yeah.
My first year or two, 72.
Oh, sure.
White tennis balls. We played, of course, with wooden rackets.
Oh, yeah, of course. You played with the Snowert, didn't you?
I started playing with the Kramer.
Oh, Kramer. Okay.
Kramer, and then I switched to Snowert.
Okay.
6 years in 78.
Okay.
And we didn't play with tiebreakers. We didn't use tiebreakers back then. So some matches got extremely long.
Oh gosh, yeah. Yeah, 17, 15 in the third or fifth or whatever.
Yeah, you sound like a real pioneer when we start talking about that stuff. So.
Oh gosh, yeah. Oh, it's amazing. And then plus I got to see an event that was actually being there in New York that Guillaume Monfils won. But he ended up winning the Ultimate Tennis Showdown that Patrick Mouratoglou has invented too, which is really not really a pretty good, fun little format to see and watch. Have you seen that?
I have not.
No, it's really pretty fun little format to see.
Yeah.
And everything with that. And so I got to see Guillaume Monfils win that one in New York and stuff. So, and that was all such a good experience to be in New York. And then I had such fun in 24. I went back in 25, stayed out in a little YMCA hostel in Manhattan, over by Central Park. So got to see the Central Park tennis courts, and that was always a fun thing to do too. So that was an experience in itself also. Okay. And everything.
Taking it all in.
Yeah, I took it all in. Probably go back this year too in 26. But with this, in commemoration, really, actually, with what you said, you played with the Kramer and also did Raul Ramirez. He played with the Jack Kramer racket here. And it was and I happen to have one. I'm showing it right now for any of those. And if you see the podcast or look at it, you'll see it. But anyway, it's one of the ones from the 70s actually that Jack played with and endorsed back in the day too. Still a really good sturdy racket too. You could probably hit with it today, and if you. Not real hard, but you can still probably hit pretty good with it too. Still very straight. It's the white one that has the crown on it, and Jack Kramer, endorsed by Jack Kramer Championship Play and all of that. So still a very good racket, very sturdy, very straight too. So it just is a phenomenal racket still. So you podcasters out there, you are seeing it or hearing about it. You'll take a look at it if you want to go to my tennis podcast, Tennis Volley Talk, and take a look at it. And you YouTubers, you're taking a look at it right now with that. But it just is amazing. And with that, with the Jack Kramer. He was, he lived to be like 88 years old, which he lived a long time and had such a wonderful career in his career. And he was
a great playing career, but he also was a great administrator and a great TV broadcaster. Jack meant so much to the game that, certainly from a playing side, but he also ran a professional tour a period of time, and then later became the first executive director of the ATP.
Yes, absolutely.
So he felt the same passion that we all had, that players needed a voice once the game turned professional. The players, as well as the administrators, needed a voice.
Oh, sure.
Jack was behind that. In fact, when he was made the executive director of the ATP, he was forced out of his job as the longtime Wimbledon broadcaster.
Yeah.
Wimbledon was not in favor of the players unionizing, let's say, forming an association. So they released Jack from his Wimbledon broadcasting duties because of that. In fact, the next year, '72 was when the ATP started. In '73, Jack led the players through the Wimbledon boycott.
Oh, that's right, he did.
Where most of 81 out of 84 ATP players pulled out of Wimbledon because they didn't accept the entry of one of the players, Nicky Pilic, who's recently passed away, and there was a big memorial service at the Davis Cup final for him. He meant a lot to Novak Djokovic's career and Boris Becker. But so Jack led us through that Wimbledon boycott, and it cost him dearly.
Oh, I'm sure.
But he was such a strong believer in how the game was going to grow. Was through a strong tournament base, but also through a strong player base, and players having one voice.
Oh, sure.
That's what he believed in. So he was a great leader and a great administrator for tennis, besides a great player, one of the greatest of all times.
Now, with his tennis tour, was it like the barnstorming kind of stuff with all the players back in the day that laid out the carpet on the gymnasium floor, or was it just kind of a little?
I think it was more like that, because that was pro tennis back then.
Yes, it was.
It was organized by somebody, and they would travel from city to city and just play a couple nights in each city. Basically exhibition matches. They didn't have any significance as far as any kind of ranking was concerned. Well, there was no ranking.
Oh, sure.
But those were the best players in the world.
Oh, they were. I mean,
we mentioned earlier, I mentioned earlier that the best tournaments in the world were only amateur events. They were not allowed these what they called contract pros to play in the amateur events, to play in Wimbledon or it was called the U.S. Nationals, and it wasn't the U.S. Open, the U.S. National. So they couldn't play. So there were some individual promoters that created this pro tour, but they would travel from city to city and play a night or two, roll down the court, play. At the end of the evening, take off the court, put it in the back of the car.
Yeah.
Drive it to the next city.
Drive to the next city.
That was pro tennis.
That was. And I actually... go ahead.
Until 1968, when the forces... In fact, Wimbledon, although we were against the Players Association, against the players banding together, they were the first event to really force the hand of the International Tennis Federation, the ITF, to create open tennis. Wimbledon got tired of this amateur event. They felt they ran the best tournament in the world, and only amateurs could play. Why can't the professionals play? So in '67, they said, next year's Open, next year's Wimbledon, 1968 was going to allow professionals to play. And that forced the hand of the ITF to then create a complete circuit of professionals and amateurs playing together.
Yeah. And
they were a leader in that.
Yeah. And that's about the time I started kind of playing. And then kind of like with me, back in Tulsa, I played with a couple of friends of mine. And then we later went on and played on the local high school, which were white cement courts with chain link fence nets, painted yellow lines. And it was just like, but the old guys took us under their wing. And it just was such an enjoyable bunch of guys that on any given Saturday, if you didn't know anybody, if somebody didn't know anybody, they would have to wait for a court until 3:00 in the afternoon because everybody else was filtering in because they knew everybody.
Right.
And it was just like an amazing group of people to grow up with, to be a young guy, to actually be able to have that experience hitting with everybody like that. And that was kind of my formative tennis years growing up too.
That's how you grow.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just amazing in that respect to do that. But actually, the funny thing is with the Wilson Company, though, it was actually founded in 1913 as with Ashland Manufacturing Company, which was initially used as a meat byproduct packing company that was actually used to make the violin strings and tennis strings and sutures too. And they used cow gut and cat gut. Not necessarily cats in general. It was really actually sheep and goat is what they used, the byproduct there. And then the reason why they use sheep and goat is because for the medical sutures, they were dissolvable back in the day.
Yes.
And it just amazing. And then actually redid restructure. And then Thomas E. Wilson came along in 1916, renamed it Wilson Sporting Goods. So, that was, and then of course, then through the years and then Jack Kramer in the 40s, 50s coming up and endorsing then the Jack Kramer Wilson racket there back in the day.
Yeah.
So it just is so wonderful to be able to have that history and talk about that too, and also having the opportunity to go through a grassroots of tennis and people's history of tennis and like I said, if you have anybody that you can give them the podcast too, and let them know, and you got my number, and so they can get a hold of me one way or the other. That would be wonderful. To be able to, and like I said, if you're through Minneapolis at one time or another, come by and take a look at the grass or the green clay tennis courts. And this summer I may even actually be in Mason, Texas, talking and maybe doing a podcast from a guy that made his own red clay tennis court in his backyard.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
well, thanks for the invitation. Good talking to you, Brian.
Well, hey, it's so very much of a pleasure talking to you, Brian. And one of the reasons is we got a good name, and it's spelled the right way too. So that's always good.
Okay. Good connection.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Brian, and you have a great day.
Okay, you too. Thank you again.
Bye-bye. So that was it, Brian Gottfried. Number 3 in the world back in 77 and number 2 in the world in 76. So unbelievable with the knowledge that he had with doing that. So anyway, everybody out there, thank you for listening. And I hope that you do like the phone interviews and what I do. And with that, everybody out there, it's really pretty cold here in Minneapolis now. But you play inside and see what happens. And anybody out there that's still playing outside, keep it up. And thank you very much for joining me. And we'll talk to you next week. Have a great week.